Hello everyone and welcome to another collections showcase, and boy do I have something special for you all today, because I have here 3 prototype / unreleased sound effects Daleks from the original teased or shown at the Toy Fair Wave 2 of the sound effects Daleks. Now before we get on to the Daleks themselves, I'm going to give you all a little bit of background as to the sound effects Daleks, because obviously the majority of you will be aware of them, you will know of the sound effects Daleks, but there are elements of what happened behind the scenes with them that some of you may not be aware of. Now, the sound effects Daleks were originally teased at the London Toy Fair in 2012, and the original lineup showed a Dalek from Planet of the Daleks, a Stealth Dalek, the See-Through Dalek from Planet of the Daleks, a new series Bronze Dalek, a Red Paradigm Dalek, and the Supreme Dalek from Planet of the Daleks. Now these were all shown at the Toy Fair, however from pictures that we've seen, if we look for example at the Stealth Dalek that was shown, it does seem that it doesn't have any components inside it, at least that we can see. So it certainly does seem that these were just mock-ups shown at the Toy Fair and they weren't actual sound effects Daleks. However, then in July 2012, later the same year, we got the first wave of sound effects Daleks, and released was Death to the Daleks, Revelation of the Daleks, Power of the Daleks, the Dalek Invasion of Earth, a new series Bronze Dalek, and Planet of the Daleks. Now those were the ones we got as part of Wave 1. Now skip ahead a year later to June 2013 when Wave 2 was released, and Wave 2 comprised of the Special Weapons Dalek, a Guard Dalek from the Chase, a Dalek from the Dead Planet, and a Dalek from Genesis of the Daleks. However, skipping back slightly to the London Toy Fair 2013, the same year, but skipping back, we were shown the original mock-ups that were made for Wave 2, and they comprised an Ironside Victory of the Daleks Dalek, a Supreme Dalek from Remembrance of the Daleks, the Supreme Dalek from Resurrection of the Daleks, the Guard Dalek from The Chase, the Supreme Dalek from the Invasion of Earth, and the Supreme Dalek from Planet of the Daleks. And those were the ones that were shown at the Toy Fair in London 2013, and that is from where these have supposedly come from, or at least the same batch. I don't think, from what I've been able to find out, these were the ones indeed shown at the Toy Fair, but there is a reason for that, which I will come on to now, because I'm going to get on to how I got these. Now, just before I say how I got these, I want to make absolutely clear, these are not for sale, they are not for giveaway. I bought these myself, I am not selling them, I'm not giving them away, and I am not passing out the details of who I got them from out of respect and because I have been asked to. So if anybody asks, the comments, the messages will go unanswered because I'm not handing out people's personal details. I got these, however, through one of the private sellers who I buy parts with and who has also helped me get other prototypes over the years. They were contacted by somebody else they trade with and they sell with, and in 2014 this person says they bought a job lot of figures and Daleks from somebody in China, and they are not a collector of Daleks themselves, so they got the figures but they put all the Daleks at the back of the cupboard, and the seller that I buy with was looking around trying to find some Dalek spares and things like that, and they asked them if they had any Daleks, and they said, oh yes, I've got a lot of Daleks, I got them in a job lot. They dug them out of a cupboard and they showed them and they said, oh, I've got these 3 as well in a box of their own, in their own separate box. Now the person, the private seller, it's very difficult trying not to use names here, but the private seller who I buy from and who they were in contact with basically said, they're very interesting, let me do some research, see what I can find out about prototypes wise, and it turns out that these were some of the leftover sound effects Daleks from Wave 2, the original Toy Fair versions from Wave 2. Now the person that bought them said, well, I'm not interested in them, do you know anyone that wants them? And they said, well, I might do. They contacted me, I said yes, absolutely, definitely want them. I managed to negotiate, price-wise, I'm not going to say what I paid for them, but I managed to negotiate, and here they are, and I have them. And they have been sort of going round the internet houses, shall we say, of other collectors and things like that, and people are in the know about prototypes, and it certainly seems that these are genuine unreleased versions from the original Wave 2 from the Toy Fair. As I said, the likelihood of these actually being the ones from the Toy Fair, though, are unlikely. However, because they were bought from China, as anyone will know, if you look at any character options figure, somewhere on it, it will say made in China. So these toys are definitely produced out there. So the chances are that they produced a batch for the Toy Fair, and at the Toy Fair of 2013, where they showed the original Wave 2, they had some in their boxes, and they had some just on display. So the likelihood is that they definitely would have produced more than 2 each. So these are probably some of the leftover ones from the leftover batches. But here they are, the sound effects Daleks. So I'm going to take you through each one. Now, before I go over the sound effects of them each of all, there are some differences on here that some of you may notice. So I'll touch on some of them before I get to them. Namely, the Ironside Dalek features standard new series sound effects. Now, the reason for that probably is because it was a mock-up. They would have just used what the parts they had at the time, which would have been the new series sound effects. And those of you who have got any sound effects Daleks yourselves will know that they do share sounds depending on their era, which is the reason why the Supreme Dalek also features just standard Dalek sound effects from the planet of the Daleks. Now, unfortunately, I don't have many of these spare sound effects Daleks generally. However, I've looked at other people's reviews of the new series Daleks and also the Planet of the Daleks and the Chase Guard Daleks, and it seems that these sound effects all correlate to the specific episodes as such. So we're going to start off with the Ironside Dalek. As you can see, it's got the button on the side. This one, it's weird that the Guard Dalek has a very defined click to it when you press the button. The Supreme Dalek, the button's very stiff on it, and it's got a little bit of a delay on it at times. And the Ironside Dalek does have a click, but it's very faint, so you do have to listen carefully. But they all seem to, like I said, they all seem to work. It just, they are a little bit glitchy, shall we say, at times. So let's cycle through the Ironside Dalek.
Daleks conquer and destroy. Exterminate, exterminate, exterminate. Scanning. Elevate. Obey the Daleks. Multi-spectrum scanning now engaged. Surrender or be exterminated. Daleks conquer and destroy. Exterminate, exterminate, exterminate. Scanning.
I think we're back to the beginning now.
Elevate.
Yeah. Okay, so, and obviously then you've got the double click as well.
Exterminate.
So that's the Ironside Dalek. It all looks the same sort of on the underside as you would see on a normal sort of sound effects new series Dalek. So we move on to the Supreme Dalek. Now, I said the button on this one is a little bit stiff, so it does seem to take a couple of attempts sometimes to get it to work. But that could also be batteries, for all I know. I mean, these are using the same batteries they came with, so I'm not sure what the condition or the percentage of the battery life left in them is.
Seek, locate, exterminate. I obey. Emergency alert, alert. Pursue, pursue. You are an enemy of the Daleks. Exterminate. Maximum power, fire. Daleks are the supreme beings in the universe. Seek, locate, exterminate.
Okay, and the double click.
Exterminate.
And again, all the usual stuff underneath. I'm guessing this is the same base they've used on the other Dalek Invasion Daleks, because it's obviously the new series, the larger classic base as well. And then we come on to the Guard Dalek.
Exterminate.
You can see what I mean about that having much a sort of louder click to it as such.
Annihilate. Destroy. Daleks conquer and destroy. Resistance is useless. Daleks are the masters of all. Daleks will destroy all life. Exterminate. Annihilate. Destroy.
think we're back to the beginning now.
Daleks are the masters
Yes.
of all.
And again, the double click.
Exterminate.
So, there we have all the sound effects. Now, the one thing, as I said, is they have their own sort of indiscrepancies as such. This has the new series sounds, this doesn't have the Supreme sounds, but one of the most interesting things, I think, is with the Guard Dalek, which I will just put off to the side, because I don't have, unfortunately, one of the Guard Daleks out of its box. I do have one in its box, however, and if we look, you can certainly see that it is a much darker blue. I don't know how easily it comes up on camera, but you can, in the hand, it is certainly a much darker blue than what is seen in the released version. But it also has this interesting difference on the eye stalk. If you can see that the eye stalk on the prototype version has the blue sort of circle and then a black eye stalk, and the proper one has the standard silver eye stalk. Now, I'm not quite sure why this is. I did do a little bit of research with the help of Dalek6388's fantastic website, the people to go to in the know for Daleks, and it does certainly seem that it has the standard silver, because obviously the props used for the chase were just standard movie Daleks that have been adapted slightly, and they do just have the same normal silver eye stalk. So quite why they gave it this colour eye stalk, I don't know. But if we look at the picture, as can be seen on the mock-up version at the Toy Fair, you can certainly see that it has this strange eye stalk, but also a darker sort of blue colour. Now, the other thing that the photos at the Toy Fair show, which I will just quickly bring up now, because obviously, as I said, the first lot seen at the Toy Fair did just seem to be static mock-ups. They didn't seem to have any. Buttons or anything on them. But if we look carefully at the ones actually seen at the Toy Fair, specifically on the Ironside Dalek for 2013, they certainly do seem to be working versions with buttons. So I don't know how easy it would be to fake this sort of thing, but the fact that if they hadn't seemingly produced sound effects versions of, say, for example, the Ironside Dalek and the Supreme Dalek for the Toy Fair, which did definitely have buttons, I would be far more suspicious. So if these are indeed fakes, they're incredibly well made fakes, but as I said, everyone I've talked to, everyone that sort of knows their prototypes and stuff like that, have come back to me and said there's no reason to doubt that these aren't official prototypes. Either way, I've been told by people that I trust that they are most likely, and they certainly appear to be genuine. That's good enough for me. I am absolutely thrilled to have them in my collection. It's something that I never thought I'd have. I mean, I said I've barely got any sound effects Daleks, so to have some prototype sound effects Daleks is just absolutely fantastic. That brings to a close another collection showcase. As always, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, favorite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot. And be sure to check out the description below for a link to my Patreon. I'm doing my very first figure animation and you can get involved. There's exclusive content and rewards for those who do so, and funding my Patreon in any way gets your name at the end of my videos. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon.